Welcome back to Big Riff Energy. It is Tuesday, February 6th. This is episode 47, and it's going to be a doozy. A doozy. This one's, I have a feeling, is going to feel like walking through a field full of landmines. Me fielding some questions from all around the world, and one of them is in regards to separating the art from the artist, and also racism in heavy music. So, two perfect examples of those topics to me are Pentagram and Argo Slint. Going to be talking about Argo Slint later on. So stick around for that and watch me try to navigate a minefield. First of all, I want to say thanks to everyone that checked out the live album, purchased some stuff for Bandcamp Friday. Man, I didn't think I was going to stay up till 2 a.m. Making everything go live, but I did. I put on Death Wish Part 4. Not quite as good as Death Wish Part 3, which is like one of the most amazing films ever made. And yeah, I was working for about 36 hours. Me and Hankus here. I'll throw him up on the screen. My assistant. Really more of like a supervisor. There he is with some of the orders. Here he is sleeping on the job. And then this is the look that he gives me when it's time to take a break and take him out to be wild on the trails. So we got everything packed up, shipped out. Thank you so much to everyone. The Patagno prints sold out real quick. It was great. Thank you guys. Feel the support. Feel the love. Some of your orders are going to have black dog hair on them or blood. I didn't know it was possible to like grievously injure yourself on cardboard like that. I've been dealing with cardboard my whole life pretty much, but man, I got a pretty significant wound, but don't worry about it. The blood is clean. There's nothing that's going to get you sick or give you anything. But if you see blood or dog hair or whatever else, deer food, just know that this ain't Amazon. This is you're supporting a small business here, you know? So thank you. Some of you might have seen that we are not participating in the Green Long Tour. So I feel like I need to talk about that. I put out a statement or whatever. They announced it. We haven't announced it yet. Probably going to do that, but yeah, just couldn't do it, man. It's family comes first. You know, I value privacy. I know that seems like a foreign concept at this juncture in human history, but yeah, certain things need to remain private, especially when it's stuff that's affecting other members of the family and stuff like that. But man, it was a hard choice. I don't like canceling stuff. Yeah, I hate it. I hate canceling stuff. We had to cancel stuff last year, and as bad as I wanted to throw a bunch of people under the bus for not doing their job, you know, it's a lose-lose situation. So, but this situation, it's me canceling it. I can't do it. My family comes first, and that's it. And I want to be very clear. I talk a lot about the lack of character of a lot of people operating in the music industry. That does not apply to this situation at all. At all. I agonized over this decision for a while. And when I brought it to the attention of the people that set up this tour, i.e. Greenlong and their agent, who is a dear friend of mine, everybody was super cool about it, super understanding, really supportive. I mean, everybody involved. Our agent at Doomstar, our boy Federico, who's going to help us out over there. Dude, I was blown away by the sympathy and the character on display by everybody involved. My bandmates were cool about it. Tommy D is still going to do the tour, actually. Spell is replacing us, Spell from Canada, and they needed a guitar fill-in, and Tom's going to help them out. So please attend the Greenlong shows. They're still going to be great. You know, I've been grinding on this idea of Spirit Adrift for 8 years. Coming up on, no, man. Yeah, 8 years. what is that? March 2015. March 4th, 2015. I'll say March 7th, 2015 is when I started this thing. And I have been working on it every single day since then. When I say every single day, I mean every single day since then. When I was trying to make a decision about this green lung thing, I talked to some people that I really respect and admire and love that are sort of experts in this field. And yeah, they're like, dude, you've been going for 8 years, like nonstop, even during the COVID bullshit. I was doing something every day. I was making shit happen every single day, even when like live performance wasn't a thing. Even if it doesn't seem like in the public sphere there's anything going on, there is. There always is. And it's like a train. And if you don't get off of it, you don't stop and get off of it, you have to like make that decision and make something happen, or you're going to miss your whole life, which it's like, the longer I do this, the more I realize what's important. And family's important, and that's it, man. You find out who your real friends are and who really cares about you real quick doing this shit. And for 8 years, I missed a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't have missed. And in my mind, it was, there was some pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But you figure out, dude, you can even read interviews with James Hetfield, and you realize at a certain point that there is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You know, today is what matters. I'm getting way too like philosophical and whatever. The one thing I don't want to do is be melodramatic about it. I don't like big, corny, goofy, melodramatic, more often than not, full of shit, like announcements about bands taking hiatuses or canceling tours to figure themselves out. And that shit's fucking embarrassing. I also don't like how prevalent it is today for people to play the victim and shit. So those are the two things I want to avoid the most. Playing the victim is gross as hell, but I will say I don't cancel stuff over nothing. And there's just things that are important, things that are literally life and death, and things that are, in the grand scheme of things, not that important. So, you know, it was only 9 shows, which seems like it wouldn't be that much of a commitment. But the way things work is there's a time and a attention and an energy commitment from the time you confirm the tour till the time it's over, you know, at least when you're in my position. And I just need to be here for the people who I love and the people who love me. So that's what I'm doing. That's going to be it. The live record is going to be it for a while for Spirit Adrift. I'm going to focus on this new thing that I'm doing, which is in the mix phase now, which is a whole other chamber of fucking horrors. But yeah, we appreciate the love and support. It's funny, you know, I think the band has more fans and more support now than it ever has. I don't think, I know it. I see it every day. I really fucking saw it over the weekend, you know, but we got a pretty extensive back catalog for a band that's only been playing shows since 2017, you know, and 2 of those years barely even count because nothing was going on. So if you're new to the band, take this time to explore our back catalog. If you're not new to the band, take this time to explore our back catalog. Spirit Adrift's going to be a thing for as long as I'm alive, so don't worry about it. But you got to get off the train sometimes and take care of life, and that's what I'm doing. So there's that. Man, here's something I really feel compelled to acknowledge. I set my... I'm very particular about my wake-up alarm song. And I watched an episode of Always Sunny where the gang is like taking on Russia in a chess tournament, and they're using the song from Rocky IV, what's it called? In the Burning Heart, you know, Survivor. It's like Eye of the Tiger Part 2. What Eye of the Tiger is to Rocky 3, I guess it is. Burning Heart is to Rocky 4. The Ivan Drago Rocky. And my alarm went off the other day. I'm hearing the music from the montage, training montage of Rocky IV. And before I was even fully conscious, I just went out loud, ah, Carl Weathers. And I got really bummed out, man. Carl Weathers, American hero, rest in peace. Predator. Here, I'm going to throw some images of Carl Weathers up on the screen. What a fucking man this was. There's him and Arnold on the set of Predator. Predator is one of the first movies I ever saw. You know, it came out, I think, before I was born, but one of my earliest memories is seeing Predator. If you can believe that. I was never really into like cute stuff. I never wasn't into Teletubbies and stuff like that. In fact, I remember distinctly being in kindergarten and having a debate with some other young men about who would win in a battle to the death, John Rambo or a T-800 Terminator. Those were the kind of conversations we were having in kindergarten back then. But Carl Weathers was in a lot of the very early movies that I remember seeing. Predator was a life changer for me. I'm going to show him and Sly. Rocky, my first dog, I named Rocky after that movie. And Carl Weathers was such a huge part of that franchise. Apollo Creed. Here he is in the 70s selling some suits. Yeah, I didn't even know this until recently. He was a linebacker for the Oakland Raiders before he was an actor. What a life. Here's him and Danny Trejo, sobriety icon. More recently he was on The Mandalorian, which season 1 of that is that might be my favorite Star Wars thing ever made. Season 1. I don't really like where it went, but man, Carl Weathers was great in that. Jeez, what a guy. What a guy. There's him and his young sons. Happy Gilmore. That was one of the first movies I remember seeing where I really paid attention to the music. Tuesday's Gone. Leonard Skinner is in the opening credits. He was great in that. Really showed his comedic abilities. And man, I just saw tributes pouring into this guy. Just a beacon of positive, kind, decent, masculine strength. And sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need that. He was a beacon of decency and positive masculinity. And he had a huge impact in my life. So rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Hell yeah, what a dude. So I'm going to go over to some fan emails here, friend emails. I do want to shout out everybody that dropped me a message during the shitstorm Bandcamp Friday weekend. John from Idaho, you got #1. You got Patagno Print #1. Randy from Colorado. Kevin in Ireland, the motherland. Really hope to make it to Ireland one day. Pat from Texas. Mike the Witchfinder on the lovely Staten Island, man. I think 3/4 of Typo Negative were on Staten Island by the end of the band. Steve P. Dude, I think I recognize the last name correctly. I think that's Steven, who runs the records with Ruby Page. And I've been meaning to shout out Steven because unfortunately, Ruby has moved on to the astral plane. And I feel very fortunate that I got to meet. If you're not familiar with the Records with Ruby Instagram page, it's great. One of my favorite vinyl or heavy music related social media pages run by my friend Steven, dear friend. And I feel fortunate I got to meet Ruby the Pitbull in Jersey City in the flesh. What a lovely creature, man. I'll love her forever. So, yeah, my heart's with you, Steven. Kiernan, the absolute unit, working his ass off in New Mexico doing landscaping. Jason at $20 spin, who's there breaking his back in the mailroom. We'll be talking soon, man. We'll be joining forces before you know it. Okay, I got a question from Zachary. I was curious about your thoughts on those early Charlie Daniels Band's records. I always thought Charlie had one of the best bands in the business. Yeah, man, they're great. Leave this long-haired country boy alone. Yeah, worked the last Charlie Daniels show in Arizona at the cursed Wild Horse Pass casino that killed like countless icons of the music industry. And yeah, his band was great. He sat down the whole time and sounded, I mean, goosebumps. He would give you goosebumps. His band was so good, and they were so nice, and his crew was so nice. The two nicest crews that I ever worked for were Charlie Daniels and Lynyrd Skynyrd. Just real working class, kind. You know, there's a lot of shit talking going on and fun to be had. Cowboys, for sure. But Charlie Daniels' crew was just so great, and he put on a phenomenal show. I have a Charlie Daniels pick that was given to me by, I think, his guitar tech, who was such a nice old Southern guy, you know. So yeah, I love the early Charlie Daniels records. Wayne from Australia, who got, I think, the last 25 out of 25 Patagno print. I just woke up on our Saturday morning, remembered it's Bandcamp Friday, went straight to your page and bought the live album. And what Bandcamp told me was the very last Ghost of the Gallows Patagno print. Hell yeah. I discovered Spirit Adrift on a Spotify playlist. See, Spotify is good for something. Back during the Divided era, Divided by Darkness era, we're still in the Divided era, huh? Since then, Spirit Adrift is easily the band I've listened to more than any other. You got me through the strict COVID lockdowns we had over here. You were there when I celebrated the birth of my first son, and you were there when I broke up with his mother. Your music is vital. I love it, and I could not do without it now. Thank you, Wayne. That's why we do it. Wayne continues to say, I'm a very average player, but jamming on my 2020 Epiphone Les Paul Classic is my meditation. Helps keep me sane. I mostly write my own riffs, as playing other people's songs don't give me the same satisfaction. A couple years back, I wanted to start playing around with some different sounds and tones, so I shopped around for some pedals and eventually landed on the hot pink Behringer UM300 Ultra Metal. Actually, that might be a different one. The UM300, the HM300 is a hot pink one. This was mainly because I'm always broke and it was cheap as fuck. Cannot believe how great this little pink plastic cheap ass pedal was. Some of the tones I got out of it were brutal and mean and just cool. Fast forward to recently when I watched the episode of Big Riff Energy where you exposed the secret of the Behringer, and it all made sense. I had a laugh at the image of you using it with Gatecreeper. Anyway, enough rambling. Love your work. You seem like a good bloke too, so keep that up. Can't wait to hear what you've been working on recently. Yeah, man, that pedal is magic. Thanks for the kind words, Wayne. These type of messages never get old, and it's really like the number one reason to make music. Number two reason. Number one reason is to fulfill oneself, but I would say the number two reason is to make something that resonates with people such as yourself. Yeah, the HM2 era, man. That Behringer is like the secret weapon of the HM2 era. But speaking of the stuff I'm working on, we're going to usher in the end of the HM2 era. I think it's coming to a head on its own, which is great. Thinning the herd, you know. Usually the best, like, 5 bands will have a footprint that lasts beyond the peak and inevitable downfall of like the trend, right? So who are the best HM2 bands? I would put Gatecreeper up there for sure. Yeah, they're number one. Black Breath was number one, but you know, I have somebody asking about Black Breath here in a minute too, so the HM2 thing's coming up. But who else uses the HM2? I'm literally like racking my brain right now and I can't think. It's just a sea, a faceless sea of, yeah. But we're ushering in a new era. There's another Boss pedal that is truly magical. And this new stuff that I'm working on will be the nail in the coffin of the sea of faceless HM2 imitators. And we're ushering in a new era. You'll see. Okay, Bruno from Brazil. Hi, Nate. How you doing? Doing good. I'm glad that you read my email. It was an honor to be called a big riffer. Thanks to you, I've been listening a lot to the first 2 Malevolent Creation albums recently. Great stuff. I admit that I had a little resistance to check out their stuff because of some racist shit said by one of the members. Yep. Sometimes it's hard for me to separate the person from the artist. Don't know how you deal with that. Also, Classic Sludge and Doom are on big rotation around here. I'm looking forward to see you talk about I Hate God, Crowbar, Acid Bath, and so on, the album discussion part of the podcast. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll talk about Acid Bath next episode. Dude, the Acid Bath nostalgia and like retroactive romanticization and love of that band is peaking right now. And it's so funny. During COVID, I was like, let me see if I have any kind of impact on what's cool at all. Because it's hard to look at ourselves objectively. And most of the time, I feel like no one cares about what I'm doing. I think that's a healthy way to feel as an artist. But I conducted this experiment during COVID, and I just started putting Acid Bath on my Instagram story constantly, like nonstop. I remember telling my wife, like, I wonder if I want to see if like anyone cares about this. And it could be coincidental, but they're like, everybody talks about Acid Bath now. It's cool. It makes me happy, even if it has nothing to do with me spamming the internet with Acid Bath for like 6 months. Anyway, whoa boy, here we go. Separating the art from the artist / racist shit. Yeah, that dude Phil from Malevolent Creation seems like a fucking knucklehead. I don't know him. One of my favorite aspects of Malevolent Creation is Brett Hoffman's vocals. And Brett Hoffman was never involved in the band when any of that bullshit was going on. The first 2 albums are great. From what I understand, they were kind of on some junkie, like self-sabotage, just complete disintegration. And the 3rd album, not so good. And one of those albums, after Brett quit the band, so he had nothing to do with the band at this point, that dude Jay, the bass player, took over. And yeah, they literally scream the N-word on a song. I don't like that album. Obviously, partially because of that, but also I just think it sucks. I think at that point, they're probably having to resort to any extreme measure they could think of to get people to pay attention because the music just isn't that good. So this is like a really hairy topic, obviously. If there's one takeaway from this episode, please remember this. Racism sucks. It sucks. It's bad. Racism is bad. If we can't, if you and I can't just like use that as a baseline starting point, then I don't really want you to be involved in my life in any way, shape, or form. So please just understand that as a starting point. It's nonsense. It's a terrible way to live, and it doesn't make sense, and it's just a miserable way of looking at the world. So I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. This guy Phil also did some weird interview where he was talking about how much they use the N-word amongst themselves, jokingly and stuff. He did another weird interview where he talked about how he broke up some robbery in the convenience store while he was getting chocolate milk. Do you guys remember that? Which I think turned out to be like a complete fabrication of a twisted, like ate up, burned up, like druggy, over the hill touring extreme musician mind, which is like those type of minds are capable of some really perplexing thoughts and behaviors. So I don't even really know where to start with this, man. When I got into Malevolent Creation, I was unaware of any of this. I just heard the riffs. This guy, Phil, I don't know how you say his name. His name almost looks like the word fascist, which is hilarious. Makes it even funnier. But Phil Fasciana, I think is his name. He writes really good riffs. And that's all I knew when I first listened to the band. With death metal particularly, or like extreme metal, you can't even understand the words. So they were never that important to me for that type of music. And a lot of people that make that type of music, let's say they're not Rhodes scholars. A lot of them, you know, it's the subject matter is violent, hateful, aggressive. And a lot of these dudes are like, antisocial behavior goes hand in hand with that. And honestly, to get really good at guitar or drums or brutal death metal vocals, it takes a measure of antisocial behavior because it's like a solitary thing. Like you usually get into it in your formative years and you're locked away in your room obsessing over Iron Maiden or whatever, like the most extreme stuff you can find, Carnivore, and you're getting more and more like isolated. And I'm speaking from experience. There was a period in my life where I was first learning guitar and really didn't have a lot of friends and was super obsessed and super isolated and learning all the songs from the first 4 Metallica albums, learning all the songs from every Black Sabbath album I could find. That led to Slayer. And you get more and more extreme. I was buying Cannibal Holocaust on VHS on eBay, you know, like a angry testosterone-filled adolescent male, just trying to find the most extreme stuff I can. I grew out of that. I think a lot of these dudes in death metal bands and black metal bands, they never grow out of it. I'm going to talk about Argo Slint here in a minute. This guy's been walking around calling himself Galal. What is his name? Galal Necrosodomy? A grown-ass man. Grown-ass man calling himself that. So, yeah, some of these dudes are just, they're damaged, man. And they don't ever get over it. And that's sort of like obsession over dark subject matter and violence and stuff like that. It can produce some really cool death metal riffs. And the first 2 Malevolent Creation records are fucking great. They're great. Then they made one where they all somehow agreed that it would be a good idea. And honestly, in this situation, knowing what I know about this particular group of guys, which is not much, but a little bit, you know, I'm pretty sure they're just trying to be edgy or whatever. But still, 4 or 5 grown-ass men, and whoever produced the record, I don't know if they could get anybody else to even deal with them at that juncture in history. They all agreed it was probably an okay idea to scream the N-word at the end of a song, which the song seems to be about, like, being turned off by people who break the law or whatever. Like, it seems like it's full-blown just like a racist song about not liking disenfranchised people. So obviously that's gross. I don't like it. I don't like it. This is a crazy topic. There are other bands. There are anti-racist bands, like very outspokenly anti-racist, anti-fascist bands who scream the N-word in songs. J-Dog from Hell's Headbangers, the infamous J-Dog, has mentioned this. I'm not the first person to talk about this. Napalm Death screams the N-word in the song Unchallenged Hate. Now, if you read the lyrics to that, it's an entirely different context. It's an anti-racist song. So we're comparing apples and oranges here. But if we're just focusing on a word, Napalm Death, who is beloved by all anti-racist, anti-fascists everywhere, and rightfully so, have a song where they scream the N-word at the end of the song, just like Malevolent Creation. Again, apples and oranges, it's not the same message, but it is something to think about. It is something to think about. Context is important, clearly. So separating the art from the artist. I'm trying to think if there's anything I neglected to mention about the Malevolent Creation situation. And I don't think so. I like the first 2 records. I like Envenomed, where Brett comes back. You know, Brett was never writing songs about being a racist. It was more about like stabbing people and slasher movie stuff and kind of historical war themed type stuff. in death metal, I do think that it's fascinating that if you write a song about racial violence or racism or bigotry or something like that, there's like a certain reaction to that being an absolute, like you're done. You're done when you write a song about that. But there's something that's equally despicable, disgusting, and infuriating and shameful to me, which is like rape and violence against women or violence against anyone who can't defend themselves. And I mean, the whole genre of death metal was built on songs like that. Early Cannibal Corpse, you know, literally singing about following women home and torturing them and raping them. But Cannibal Corpse was never like put on trial in the same way. And you could say, you know, I'm just really kind of trying to pick this apart from all angles and play devil's advocate. I know how I feel about it, which is like, I would never write a song throwing racial slurs around or advocating racism. I would also never write a song about like verbally and lyrically playing out what seemed like borderline fantasies about like raping women against their will and that sort of thing. But I think it is interesting that there's just like two very different reactions from I hate to say the corny ass term like social justice warrior, but that's what it is. Like, why aren't you guys putting Cannibal Corpse on trial the way that you put Malevolent Creation on trial? Is it because of one word? Is it because of one song that has a message that you don't like, that you think Malevolent Creation, that maybe they actually believe that? Whereas Chris Barnes doesn't mean it when he's talking about chopping women up into pieces and raping them and tying them up and stuff. I don't know. It seems a little hypocritical. That's all I'm saying. I don't like any of that shit personally. Super extreme metal like that has a place in my life for sure. I love evil stuff. I love violent stuff. I don't really like to sit around and listen to songs about raping women. That's as unappealing to me as sitting around listening to songs about white supremacy or racism or stuff. It's just like completely unappealing. There's none of that on the first two Malevolent Creation records. There's none of that on Envenomed. So I enjoy those records. Pentagram, United States Pentagram, is another perfect example of this. If I had to spend 3 minutes around Bobby Liebling, the dude would probably end up no longer with us. I'm just like, when's that going to happen just naturally on its own? But the guy just seems like a complete fucking scumbag who has learned nothing over the course of his much too long punishment of an existence. So that being said, for me to deny his big riff energy would be hypocritical, disingenuous, and just not accurate. The first couple Pentagram records are like about as big riff energy as it gets. Now, when I listen to a song like Sign of the Wolf, and I am overcome with all of the positive emotions that I look for in experiencing music, am I somehow signing off on the life decisions that this piece of shit Bobby Liebling has made? No. And in fact, when I'm sitting there listening to Sign of the Wolf by Pentagram, I'm not even endorsing the rest of their catalog, because they've made some dog shit ass music too. Not only has the dude like made horrible decisions in his personal life, which to me has no impact on whether or not I can enjoy a song that's as brilliant as Sign of the Wolf, right? There's nothing in Sign of the Wolf where he's advocating any of the horrible shit that he's done in his life. But not only am I not advocating for him as a person, I'm not advocating for Pentagram as a band. I just like that song, and there's other songs I like, but it's just weird to think like I can't sit there and listen to Sign of the Wolf, which is an incredible song, because that guy is a piece of shit. Like, whatever, he's a piece of shit. I'm not going to pay him money. I'm not going to pay for tickets to go see Pentagram. Allegedly, they're doing their last tour. God, I hope so. Yeah, I don't like him. If we were booked at the same festival and he came around me, I would probably tell him he's a fucking piece of shit and ask him when he's going to fuck off and die already. But I like listening to his music. So now we're stepping into some real scary territory. I'm going to be very careful with how I approach this. There's a band called Argoslynt. It seems like a lot of people are aware of them now. They seem to be the talk of the town on social media lately. Rotting Christ actually just announced their new record. And I went on Instagram and looked. The cover is the same cover. It's like a Renaissance painting or something. Same cover as an Argoslynt record called Incorrigible Bigotry. And when I looked at the Rotting Christ announcement and the Season of Mist announcement, a lot of the comments were talking about Argoslynt. A lot of them. Let me explain first how I got into this band. And I want to also throw up a little self-defense here. I didn't seek this band out. This band was a discovery I made via some friends of mine who are not racist, who are about the as far anti-racist and I'll say left-wing in a good way as you can get. I'm not going to say who it is because I'm not a fucking rat, but I think people would be kind of shocked. I have another friend who is literally as anti-racist and far left as you can get, who was shouting Argoslynt out in Metal Maniacs back in the day. So don't come at me, because there's plenty of people talking about this band and listening to this band, whether they admit it or not. So I was on tour with a band, not a band I was in, and I think I was like in the back bench taking a nap, and I came to, and I heard this glorious music. I'm talking like some of the most triumphant, tragic, compelling, brutal, technical, but so soulful. The drumming was like fucking out of control. Some of the most expressive extreme metal drumming I've ever heard. The riffs are just like both fists in the air on top of a mountain, but you're heartbroken because your village is on fire. Like it was painting these pictures in my head as I was coming out of like a dream state. And I sat up and I was like, holy shit. I asked everybody in the van, I'm like, what is this, dude? And I mean, it was like a visceral emotional reaction to this music. They said, oh, it's this band Argoslynt. And I was like, how the fuck have I never heard of this? Like, this is some of the best, I guess you'd call it death metal, but it's so much more emotional sounding than most death metal. I'm like, how have I never heard of this? And they all just kind of looked at each other like, well, there's a reason. It turns out this is like the most racist band of all time. And it's like really insidiously racist and prejudiced because it's not super knucklehead lyrics. It's the type of racism that is extremely dangerous because it's, I would say, very much pseudo-intellectual. The lyrics display like a pretty advanced vocabulary, you know, and I don't know, like an understanding of pivotal historical events and the slave trade and, you know, the history of slavery and genocide and stuff like that. So it's like the really scary kind of racist. It's not a bunch of dumb fuck junkies from Florida making up stories about stopping robberies in a gas station and screaming the N-word and stuff like that. That shit is clear. Like the Malevolent Creation thing is clearly, those guys are fucking morons, right? That made that decision. The Argo Slint thing is scary because it's the kind of rhetoric that could actually get people on that path, I think, which is a fucking horrible path to be on. Just as I stated at the beginning of this, horrible, horrible path to be on. So, man, what a fucking conundrum. Because this guy, Galal Necrosodomy, grown-ass man calling himself whatever, selling sausages out of a food truck. I'll get into that. I think it was sausages or hot sauce or some shit with his wife. Yeah, this guy sucks. I'll put up a picture of him. Fucking limp dick. Look at that dude. He got doxxed. I don't know if you know what doxing is, but it's where they give out all your personal information and stuff. He got doxxed on Twitter, which, you know, as much as I'm about to fucking annihilate this guy on this podcast, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think that's fucked up. But I do agree with roasting people. So buckle up, Galal Necrosodomy. Anyway, when I heard this Argo Slint record, I was just like torn. I went down a rabbit hole. I was reading interviews with this guy, which then I was even more confused because he talked about, I think there's an interview where he talks about voting for Barack Obama. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy on, you know? It's a crazy thing to think about, that somebody could have, you know, to have that much big riff energy. Maybe I'm overestimating the process of writing riffs or songs or whatever, but to have that kind of riff energy that this guy has, I feel like it requires a pretty significant amount of emotional self-awareness and critical self-awareness and honesty and connection to what's real and true. So I'm like, how could you write music that seems to possess that level of like emotion and joy and excitement and energy, big riff energy, and also like be espousing the kind of ignorant, fruitless, pointless, hateful, not in a cool way, bullshit. And so I don't know if it's like reading interviews with this dude back when I was really going down the rabbit hole trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this man. I kind of look at it like there's a possibility that in their minds that all of the extreme subject matters had already been worn out in death metal. Rape, murder, genocide, war, all of that. And that the only frontier that hadn't really been explored in this way was like just being super fucking white supremacist or something. I don't know, man. But then I look at pictures of this man, knowing where he grew up, and I'm thinking, man, if I looked like that, if I looked like this fucking chinless limp dick, and I'm 14, 15 years old, obsessing over whatever, Celtic Frost and Sarcophago and Early Sepultura, cooped up in my bedroom, and I go to school and I'm trying to talk to girls, but they're blowing me off, A, because I'm a fucking weak limp dick, but B, because I won't shut the fuck up about Early Sepultura and Celtic Frost. And then, meanwhile, the quarterback of the football team looks like fucking Carl Weathers, and he's getting all the girls and everybody loves him because he's a nice guy, good looking, strong, athletic, eloquent, admirable man. I'd be fucking humiliated too, man. So maybe that's how these things start. I don't know. I'm going to roast this guy a little bit. Okay, so not that long ago, actually, I stumbled upon an article. Let me see if I can find it. No Clean Singing. I really love No Clean Singing, man. I think for metal publications, they're one of the best. Not just because they love me, but I just objectively think the writing is a little more has a little more depth to it, and they know what they're talking about. But back in 2012, some guy who goes by Bad Wolf, regrettable name now, wrote an article called "Emancipate These Riffs: Argoslint." And the gist of this article is kind of like what I was just lamenting. Like, fuck, this music is so good. These riffs are so good. And it sucks that I can't just, I can't understand the words when I'm listening to it, nor do I want to. But it sucks that you just know that it's such bullshit, like pseudo ideology behind these really cool riffs. And so this dude that wrote this article was basically begging people to steal or rework Argoslint riffs in songs that are not shitty and racist. So I did that. I took this guy up on it, man, because I was like, dude, I want riffs that are this cool, that I can enjoy, that aren't attached to this fucking bullshit racist shit, weakling fucking ideology. So I did, man. I appropriated some Argoslint riffs, reworked them, made them my own, and put them in a song or two that are about self-love, loving your fellow man, loving all life on earth, the psychedelic experience that leads to the inevitable understanding of the truth, which is, on a molecular level, we are all part of the same one cosmic experience, which is reason 1 out of a billion why racism doesn't even make any fucking sense. It's a miserable way to live, but it also just doesn't make sense scientifically. It really doesn't. Despite this pseudoscience fucking weird, I watched American History X once and missed the whole point of the movie bullshit that they're espousing on these Argoslint records. So, Gelal, I got your riffs, bitch. I got your riffs. They're mine. And, people think that because you walk around like with a name like Gelal Necrosodomy and you wrote these like crazy violent songs that you're like a scary person. But after this guy got doxxed, like it's pretty easy to find out stuff about this dude. And I've heard through a friend of a friend of a friend that he no longer like adheres to this whatever extremist racist bullshit, which too late, man. Too late. But I will say, I got curious one night, and it took me all of like 10, 15 minutes to find out a little bit about this dude. And he's not scary. He's not scary. People try to act like he was scary because he was like a half-assed soccer hooligan or something. But this grown man that calls himself Gelal Necrosodomy goes to Disneyland. He goes, he's got a little family, gentrified little harmless family, and they go to On the Border. You can literally like find pictures of this chinless fuck at On the Border with this look on his face of just like, how has the mighty Gelal Necrosodomy been reduced to such domesticated, unremarkable obscurity? And Argoslint put a record out this year that's pretty wimpy. It took them forever to do a record because they were blaming the pandemic and stuff. I thought you guys were supposed to be like the bastion of the fucking indomitable master race, and you're gonna cry about how you can't make a record because there's a virus? That doesn't seem very supreme to me. What happened to the supreme master DNA coursing through your veins? You guys couldn't make a record because of the virus? Oh no. Well, I'm glad that you finally did. Not really though, because maybe it was the racist hatred coursing through this guy's veins that was the source of his riff power or something. Because the new one is like it was a letdown, man. A lot of broke ass like wannabe Thin Lizzy guitar harmonies and stuff. It just didn't. It's not that good, which is kind of a relief in a way. Honestly, because now I can just be like, fuck that band. So, Gelal, I'm going to propose something here. Maybe this is, try to not be a bully. You're a fucking weak old man. who's kind of washed up. But I got your riffs, bitch. I put them in a song that is the opposite of all that bullshit y'all been preaching. And if you want them, I propose a solution. You're a big, tough soccer hooligan, but I doubt you've ever walked into an MMA gym or a boxing gym or anything like that. So let's have a friendly exhibition, and I'll come to you. You're on the East Coast. I'll come to you. We can film it for the podcast, and we don't need to really hurt each other. There doesn't need to be any extreme actions taken or anything like that. We can meet up at a boxing gym if you're not too scared to go in there, which you might be, and we can glove up. In fact, I'll tie one hand behind my back. The winner gets to keep the riffs, and maybe we can raise some money, do PayPal donations or something, and I'll donate to the NAACP when I win. You can donate to I don't know, your food truck. I think his food truck's out of business because he got doxxed or whatever. But yeah, I propose a friendly boxing and or MMA exhibition. I will tie one hand behind my back, and the winner gets to keep writing those riffs. And how about the loser never makes a record again? Which wouldn't be a huge loss at this point, judging off of your last record. Okay, I'm trying to think. I was going to roast this guy over something else too. Oh, yeah. Okay, so as good as this dude's riffs are, the one thing I will say, when he goes to play lead guitar, it is some of the most pitiful shit I've ever heard. And you can really tell that this is a person who is terrified of black people when he plays lead guitar. It's just like, it's not good. It's it's funny because he's pulling from blues scales and pentatonic scales, which were created by black people. But there's no soul. There's no swagger. Little dick energy on the lead guitar, which is like kind of perplexing because the riffs are fucking incredible. But man, the lead guitar is just some weak, sloppy, scared, amateur sounding bullshit. Tiny riff energy. It's like so bad it almost kind of like makes you forget that the riffs are even good. So there's Argos Lint. I don't know. I fucking hate that guy. I'll just say this, guys. There are a lot of bands that don't get the same scrutiny as some of these more obvious shitheads. There's a lot of bands who are shitheads who you don't know they're shitheads. And if you're not a hypocrite and you're holding everybody by the same standards, there'd be a lot of bands that y'all love that you would not be able to listen to. And again, I'm not a fucking rat, but I'll put it this way. How long was Harvey Weinstein doing his thing in Hollywood? You think nobody in Hollywood knew about that shit? I would say there were thousands, not hundreds, thousands of people that knew about it. And didn't say anything because they didn't want to ruffle the wrong feathers. They wanted their careers or whatever. And they wanted their careers to be undisturbed. You would be shocked. Even as like little money as there is in metal and extreme music, you would be shocked at the amount of people that participate in maybe not exactly Harvey Weinstein type shit, but there is just creepy shit that goes on. And if you guys like, you're judging a lot of bands based on what's being put out in public, right? And Malevolent Creation's stupid enough to scream the N-word on a song publicly. But if you think that's the only death metal band from that group that's using the N-word all willy-nilly 24 hours a day, you are mistaken. You are mistaken. So I don't like racism. I don't like hypocrisy either. And a lot of y'all are hypocrites. And you might not know it, and I don't fault you for that. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, man. Fuck you, Galal. Come get your riffs, bitch. Send me an email. You know how to get a hold of me. let's meet up, dude. I'll fly out to Virginia. We can meet in a boxing ring. Winner keeps the riffs. Loser stops writing songs. Okay. I hope I successfully navigated that. Yeah, basically, sometimes you got to separate the art from the artist, or you're not going to be able to enjoy anything, because most artists are flawed. And it's funny how it's okay to be flawed in certain ways. You know, it's okay to hurt yourself. It's okay to hate yourself. It's okay to be a junkie or a drunk or whatever. But people are just, I think, rightfully completely disgusted by other things, and not so much disgusted by things that I personally find to be equally disgusting. So to me, the only way to like not be a complete fucking hypocrite and to enjoy my life and to enjoy music that I like is to try to just ignore a lot of that. And I don't seek out racist music, but every once in a while I'll wake up in a van and hear the best riff I've ever heard, and it turns out to be made by a racist fucking limp dick moron. So what are you going to do? Woo, all of this on Black History Month, too. Jesus. Must be out of my mind. Okay, here's another one. Hey, Nate. Question for a future episode if you feel inclined. Has your training in MMA, BJJ changed you as a person? If so, how? I asked this question because from the age of 11 to 18, I trained in Taekwondo at a pretty intense school, and it taught me a ton about service to others, discipline, delayed gratification, and being able to handle physical and mental pain effectively. I'm curious about the lessons your practice has taught you on your journey in martial arts. Oh, this is Lee. Sorry, I didn't say your name, Lee. Lee also did an interview with Jeremy Hush, who did the artwork for Ghost of the Gallows. Check it out. God damn it. I don't see the name of your... Shoot, I'll have to say in the next episode. I would say just go on YouTube and search Jeremy Hush interview artwork and it'll pop up. Sorry, Lee. Literal Lee on Instagram. I want to be clear, man. I really don't have any, relatively speaking, I have zero, I just got to say this, zero formal training in MMA or BJJ. I've been to one formal BJJ class in New York with my friend Maria, which was super cool. It was Daniel Gracie, and it was like an advanced course, and I took to it like that, man. I loved it. But last year was supposed to be the year I really dove into BJJ. Back injury kind of threw a wrench in that, but I'm gonna try to do it this year. I have done a lot of like fucking around informally, I will say. MMA, like, same deal. I have not walked. I have not spent any time formally training MMA in a gym, paying dues, that sort of thing. I've fucked around. I'll put it that way. Boxing, I have spent some time formally training in that, and a lot of time informally training, I'll say. But I'm passionate about it. I do a lot of work on my own. I was doing pretty steady work with my friend Champ, who's come on here, who's got a lot of formal training. But I don't want to overblow. Like, I just don't want to be a fake tough guy on here. I think it's important, as you said, to learn how to be of service to others, how to be disciplined, how to have delayed gratification, being able to handle physical and mental pain. And I will add, being able to defend yourself. I think being strong, mentally, emotionally, physically, is extremely important. I think that, and you know, all the greatest philosophers through history believed that as well. All those ancient Greek dudes were wrestlers, boxers, generals. The Eastern guys, you know, Kung Fu, all kinds of martial arts. If you don't have a strong vessel in which to operate, it makes everything harder. It makes everything harder. If you don't have the confidence that you can defend yourself and others from unwarranted threats, it makes life harder. It's just kind of lives in the back of your mind, because I've lived a portion of my life that way as well, where I wasn't physically strong, probably couldn't do a great job defending myself or someone else if someone needed defending. And I think it's just a solid base from which to build a fruitful, enjoyable life. Yeah, I think it's very important. That being said, I have full confidence that I have enough training to defeat the mighty, chinless, dickless Galal necrosodomy in a sanctioned exhibition. Stephen from the UK. Hope you are well. I wanted to say a big thanks for talking about Inner Arma a couple of podcasts ago. This is a band I'd always struggled to get into despite knowing they're highly regarded. I put the time in after hearing you talk about them and was totally blown away. I went ahead and bought Paradise Gallows and Sulphur English that week. Looking forward to their new album too, hopefully later this year. Thank you. They'll be glad to know that, man. I was giving them shit a couple weeks ago saying, hey, I'm whoring out your band on the internet. Please send me your new record. So I am overjoyed to see that that worked, man. Paradise Gallows is so good. So good. That band is so eclectic that I think people do struggle to figure them out initially, but God, they're good. Okay. Oh, by the way, TJ Childers from Inner Arma is going to be the first Zoom guest on this podcast. I got to find the time to do like a practice run and record it and just make sure I know what I'm doing. But TJ was like, get me on there. We'll talk shit, man. And I couldn't come up with a better first guest than that guy. So stay tuned for that. Me and TJ are going to figure it out. Okay, Stephen continues. Also, I know last year you talked about Black Breath's Slaves Beyond Death album. I bought that at the time of the release, having been a fan of the previous two, but didn't really get into the change of direction. Since you mentioned it, I've been really enjoying it. I think you suggested you could go into it in more detail. Would love to know more, as it's a shame the band broke up. Yeah, man, it's like a Greek tragedy with this. So Slaves Beyond Death will be the album discussion today. God, I realize how unfortunate it is to be talking about racism and album with slaves in the title during Black History Month, but this is the way things go sometimes. I'm going to try to find the press release here so that I'm not just like paraphrasing it. Okay. Slaves Beyond Death is the third full length from the new kings of Seattle death metal. Black Breath, like its predecessors, this album was blah, 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 blah. Okay, the Heathens of the Breath have taken a decidedly more sick and evil sonic direction with their latest Burnt Offering. They have effectively and efficiently ripped off their old skin and left us with a more grotesque, rotting corpse of pure, filthy death metal. Bid farewell to any good time hardcore, punk, or retro thrash vibes. It's all putrid stench and bile vomited up by the best current death metal band that currently rages. This music ain't pretty, but neither are you. I remember the first time I heard Black Breath was in my friend Chuck's studio in Arkansas, 2008 or 9. They had not yet released their first album. And this was the first time I had heard a band recreating the early 90s Swedish chainsaw guitar. Razor to Oblivion EP, the first song is great. But it's got some punky, thrashy stuff like the press release was referring to. And then they did, what, 2 full lengths? And yeah, I think they just kept getting a little more straightforward death metal. Slaves Beyond Death came out, and it's there's some like the level of musicianship is beyond anything they had done previously. And I understand that I'm a musician and I can't really like forget what I know about writing music and riffs and stuff like that. and I inherently have a different experience with music than someone who is not a musician or a songwriter. And oftentimes I will be far more blown away by something than the general public will be. And I don't think that makes me better or worse than the general public. In fact, I think the most important art form when you're creating something for people to experience is to create something that makes you happy, whatever your standards are, but that a lot of people will relate to. So I think oftentimes really skilled musicians or songwriters will make stuff that's like a little too complex for your average listener. So I think there's a fine line, and I don't think you should consider much else than what's making you happy. But it turns out part of what makes me happy as a songwriter is making stuff that other people will relate to. I don't want to just sit, like I don't sit and listen to my own music once it's done. So what would be the point of making it and then never thinking about it again if no one else can enjoy it, right? But I think what might have happened with Black Breath is their fan base was like, they built a fan base off of like really simple, straightforward, I would say death metal, but that resembles a lot of people's favorite, more simple, straightforward aspects of hardcore. So this is the foundation on which they built their fan base. Pretty straightforward stuff. Slaves Beyond Death comes out, and they're pulling an about face, not just with the music, but the way they're presenting it. You know, there's no more fun time hardcore stuff, which is kind of a fuck you to their fan base, which I liked, because I think a lot of their fans were just fucking same trendy ass people that are hopping on every bandwagon today, you know, who will be hopping off at the first possible opportunity. Yeah, I think a lot of things went wrong with this record. I'll tell you what didn't go wrong. The music. This is easily my favorite Black Breath record. I did a top 10 death metal albums of all time list, and I mentioned this one on there as a modern masterpiece, and it is. To me, it's got the best riffs. It has the best songwriting. It's the most interesting. The vocals are way more like brutal, nasty death metal and less like shouty hardcore like mosh call bullshit. There again, I ain't a fucking rat, so I'm not gonna get into details about this, but if you know, you know. There was a lot of bullshit going on behind the scenes with this record between key players involving record labels and reviews and press and stuff like that, which is a damn shame, because the guys that busted their ass touring, building this band, writing a fucking incredible album, those guys had to suffer because of bullshit that was going on with people that didn't bust their ass touring, didn't bust their ass writing the songs, didn't bust their ass in the studio. Not to say that these guys don't bust their ass, but it's just a shame. It's a shame that the guys that made something so cool had to suffer because of childish middle school type politic bullshit. Hurt feelings of Z tier politician type behavior. Another thing that happened with this record is, so Jamie from Black Breath, he's a drummer, but he plays a lot of lead guitar on the records. I think he might even play rhythm guitar. And he's like, from what I can tell, the principal songwriter. And I think during the recording of this album, he was hit by a car, and it like destroyed one of his legs. So he had to, it's not that easy to reschedule studio time, especially when there's deadlines and stuff like that. So Jamie, from what I understand, from what legend has it, recorded some of these songs on drums with a broken leg. And if you know anything about this album, it's like a double kick heavy album. So he had to rework some of the drum parts, which I think this was all in an interview, but you know, I don't have enough time to like really thoroughly research or prepare for these podcasts, which is why it felt like I was walking through a landmine field today. But I think he said that he had to rework a lot of double kick parts with one leg, and he might have even been using his left leg, but that it made some of the parts more interesting and compelling in like an old school way. But yeah, dude, got hit by a car. The powers that be were basically fucking everything up behind the scenes for this band. I think maybe they did one tour off of this record and then stopped being a band. Unfortunately, the bass player Elijah passed away a few years later. I think that's his name, Elijah Nelson. Is that right? I apologize if I got his name wrong. The pinball wizard, man. Guy was notorious for being like a savant at pinball. Couldn't miss him. We saw him walking down the street in Seattle one day. Actually, I think we saw him playing pinball in Seattle one day. So rest in peace, man. Dude, he has some great parts on this record. There's a bass-driven part of a song that's just like so brutal and heavy and compelling. They figure out a way to play Feel Like Making Love by Bad Company, but it's like the heaviest thing you've ever heard. A lot of really great guitar harmonies, and yeah, just the songwriting is so much more sophisticated than their previous material, and I think it just kind of flew over the head of their fan base. Yeah, there was the douchebag stuff going on behind the scenes, car accidents. It's a shame, man. It's a shame because so many bands are reaping the rewards of the HM2 revival that was really kicked off by Black Breath. And it's so tragic to me that they're no longer a band, like they're no longer in a position to reap the rewards of the work that they put in, and it just sucks. So all my best to these Black Breath dudes. It's a shame what happened to y'all, man. This is a fucking all-time great death metal record to me. Y'all are an all-time great death metal band, regardless of external circumstances and stuff like that. The records will stand the test of time no matter what. And nobody's ever going to remember any of that other bullshit that's going on. Just nerds like me. So I love Black Breath, man. That being said, I will remind you that the HM2 era is coming to an end. And soon you will all be hearing about a legendary, forgotten boss pedal with a timeless sound for the ages. So more on that coming up. I guess that's it, dude. Am I canceled? I don't know. Don't give the dudes from Argos Lynn any money. I'll tell you that much. Don't seek out racist music. There's no point. There's a lot of great stuff that's not racist or hateful. Yeah, that's it, man. Rest in peace, Carl Weathers, and Gail All Necrosodomy. I'll be sending you a contract, dude. So sign on the dotted line if you're not scared, and you can represent your so-called master race, which to me doesn't seem very supreme or good at anything. I'll represent everybody else, and winner gets to keep the riffs. Go fuck yourself. All right. See you next week.
Big Riff.